Hello friends and family, this is Adams over at Adams Garage and More, and I've got something else that I'm going to bring to you, another quick tip. I was working on my C3 Corvette and the clock's not working on it. And I Googled a bunch of things on it, looked up a bunch of things on it, and then I found one YouTuber, actually two YouTubers that have repaired clocks and can actually show what's the problem with the clock. I also did some more reading on these GM clocks, and there's two things that can go wrong with these clocks. There's a winding in there that can go bad, which needs to be replaced, or, and this is what you need to check first, the clocks over a period of time become dry and they need to be lubricated. The key is not to lubricate or get anything on the front of the clock, because you'll mess up the finish on your clock. So I just thought I'd throw this together, and I've already disassembled it, and I'm not going to show you that part because that's really pretty self-explanatory. Now let you take a look at it. My gauge cluster out of my 75 Corvette. Everything works fine on here except for the clock. And so I'm going to put my factory radio back in and take this aftermarket one out. Factory radio is sitting right here on my bench. That's the factory radio and the factory amp. And it's been out forever, so I needed to make sure it was okay. So I hooked it up to my little portable device here, and which is just a Viking Harbor Freight jumper box. And I had a chance for my radio to come on, and it worked, so, which was a good thing. So I don't have any questions about that. That stuff can go back in the car. But getting back to the matter we were discussing, which is the clock. This is my clock face, and of course the clock face goes on top of the actual clock, which comes through your dash. There are your pointers. Real simple to get off, just got to be careful with them. To the hour hand, minute hand, and second hand. And this is all what your clock looks like. This is pretty much just the back of it. That's the front of it. This is the actual housing. And the back of it right there. And your light goes through the big hole for your dash. The attachments to the back of it. And what I did here, walk you over to my bench. You can see the clock is running. But in order for me to get this clock running, it had to be lubricated. It hasn't kicked back over yet. It's got a point setup in it, and let me kind of explain to you how this works. It's got a winding for electricity, which is 12 volts from your car battery, goes into the clock, and it opens a closed set of points, which is, if you can see these down here. The points will make contact just like in a distributor, and they'll pop back open. And when the clock is running, that's what's going on with them. So that means they've popped back open, and they've given you another cycle of juice there. That's a mini pulse of juice. What needed to be lubricated on my clock was my gears and my wheels. That's the rocking mechanism that goes inside the clock. The winding is located inside there. Up under here is where your winding mechanism is located. And that you've got your major faces of springs. I'm going to take this off here so I can show you the rest of it. And this is how your clock looks underneath. A set of gears. That's your 12 volt source. Spin this around. That right there is the coil. It's a stranded wire that's wound in a specific mount, and it goes through the 12-volt points right there. It goes down to it, and it's attached to your points. See where your points come off the back of it? These are about ready to make contact again. I disconnected 12-volt so it doesn't get that boost. This, when the points kick open, it actually gives you your winding. Like you would wind up an old-time clock. That's where that comes from. And of course, this is the front of it, where the hands attach and it goes back into the body of the clock. To kind of give you an idea. So what I did was all these gears, I put a little liquid oil on them, and I'll show you what I use. You can use WD-40 or whatever. That's a thin oil. But I found out where mine was stuck at. Get you down in here where you can see. Right there. That gear right there with the red on it. That's where mine's evidently had accumulated some rust or something was on there. I appreciate moving the camera around trying to get a better angle for you. You see that rod coming out, right? That silver rod is just slightly to the left of that unit. Right there. That's where the rust had formed on top of that. So it was restricting it to move and rock back and forth. These clocks are pretty simple. This has been going on for years with these clocks, and a lot of people, they'll convert them to a quartz clock or whatever, which is, you know, it's strictly your decision. I'm kind of an original guy, so I kind of like to use the original stuff. But I put it on last night, and I left the battery on it last night, and it hadn't stopped. I just stopped a little bit ago because I disconnected. It didn't have anything to kick the points back over. So just whatever you do when you lube it, don't lean it forward because you don't want that oil to get on that coil. It may short it out. I don't know. Just don't do it. And don't let it get on the face of your clock because it may ruin the actual face and numbers of your clock. I use my favorite, which is called PB Blaster. I'm not doing any, this is not an endorsement from PB Blaster. But this is what I use, penetrating. It works great for me for some of everything. So if you can use that, it comes in it's got a little spray tube on it. And it's got a lock on it that you can turn off. That way you can't push the trigger down. And you can close your straw down. If you like me, you always lose your straw. So this worked out perfect for me. But I'm gonna get that rascal installed. I'm gonna do a little bit on the assembly so you can see how it goes back together. And I just thought I'd put this tip out there to you. Like I said, if you Google, there's a couple people out there that, one young lady, she's out in Arizona. I don't recall her channel off the top of my head, but I'll put her channel down at the bottom. She does Corvette restoration, and it's a guy that's up north on the East Coast. He's got a '69 Corvette. He does restoration. But all of us Corvette community are just trying to learn together. You know, it's Corvette community. And the key in anything is sharing information and helping people out. So I just want to shoot this quick video to you, and let me get to putting this thing together, and you can see how it's done. Stay tuned.